Well, hello. Look at the weather. It's pretty darn gorgeous out there today. Hey, want to see how the building's coming along? It's going to be in my way in the summer. It's getting there. They raised the crane. The crane was only about this high before, and now it's this high, and I'm worried that it's going to go as high as the crane, because if it does, it'll hit the horizon, which means it'll take away some of my sun in the evenings in the summer. But if it doesn't, if the top of the building doesn't hit the top of the horizon, then there's still hope. Anyway, let's go in because it's a little bit noisy because of the construction. Once in a while they start up something noisy and it might drown me out. So pardon me for looking a little disheveled today. I just got back from my run. What a gorgeous run today. Wow, it's actually quite warm for February and beautiful and sunny. It was a wonderful run. My first run in a month though. Yes, it's true. I took a little time off because I was having my hamstring issue pop back up. But I have a little story about this today that I think can help you out in the long run. So stick with me here till the end because there's a moral to the story. A few years ago, I developed a problem with my hamstring. Didn't really know what it was. It felt tight. But I sat on it a lot, and when I sat on it, it hurt quite a bit. So, and it really, really hurt to run. So not knowing what the problem was, I went to the doctor, who didn't really know what it was, so she sent me to, you know, specialists like out the yin-yang. I mean, I just kept going back for more recommendations because the person that I was going to didn't seem to know what the problem was. Their recommendations for how to fix it were purely guesses, and they admitted it. You know, it's like, well, we don't really know, so let's try this and see how this works, you know, and I mean, you name it, I went. I went to the sports physio guy. I went to the sports medicine place out at the university here in Vancouver. I went to chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncture. I can't even remember everybody I went to, but I went to everybody. And nobody could really fix it in a permanent way. I did discover that trying to strengthen it made it feel better. But I've only now discovered now that that made it feel a little better because I wasn't stretching it. And I was trying to strengthen it so I wouldn't stretch it. I was running under the assumption that maybe the hamstring was weak because one person said that they thought my quads were too strong, my hams were too weak, and I was out of balance to try and strengthen my hams. So while I was trying to strengthen my hams, I wasn't stretching them. And that seemed to make it feel better, but that was only because I wasn't stretching them, because I have now found out through my own research that I have what's called high hamstring tendonitis, which is an inflamed tendon at the top of my hamstrings, brought on primarily by running. It seems like only runners seem to get this problem, and it's an inflammation in your tendon, and it makes running and sitting very, very painful. And I discovered this it happened again. It started happening again about a month ago. So I thought, oh God, I can't deal. What the hell? I know I'm not going to go to a million doctors again. So I started looking online, and I just wanted to look at the the physiology of my hamstring and hip area, so I could sort of figure out where exactly is this pain originating from, because I knew what I felt. But I didn't know what the hell was going on, because none of the other doctors seemed to know. So I was looking around, and I found I was looking at some pictures and kind of looking at things I already knew, because I know the physiology of a hamstring. And one of the URLs of one of the pictures caught my eye. It was something about deep dark secret of injury that only runners know, and it's implied that it was like a great untalked about runner's injury. So I clicked on it to read it, and he described what I've got perfectly, and it was a doctor that had written this and wrote out a specific protocol for rehabbing it. And I thought, oh my God, I've just found like the mother lode of what I needed to know in like 3 clicks. So I believe that what he said on his website is true, because he's described it exactly the way it feels in every respect. And the things that he has said about rehabbing it make total sense to me, total sense. So on the advice of this website, I took a month off and started stretching my lower back and my quads and my hip flexors, but not my hamstrings, because now I find out that stretching tendonitis, an inflamed tendon, can actually cause it more harm. So I haven't been stretching that at all. I haven't been strengthening it either. I've been leaving it alone. I don't have an imbalance between my quads and my hams, and I don't have an imbalance between my right side and my left side, and I don't have all the things that the other doctors were guessing at. So I'm following his advice, and a month later, I'm feeling a lot better. So much better today that I went for a run, and for the first 3/4 of the run, felt great. Felt like the old me, and then I started feeling okay, this is starting to irritate it by the fourth quarter of the run. So I know it's not completely fixed, but I know what to do now, and I know what it is, and I know what to call it when I'm speaking with medical professionals. So the moral of the story, I'm not finished talking yet, but the moral of the story here in the middle of the story is, if you have an owie, that's something that's bugging you physically, before going to the doctor, look online for some answers first. I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. I'm saying look first, because doctors don't know everything, and they can't feel what you feel. So only you can feel what you feel, and sometimes maybe your description of what you feel isn't quite what the doctor's hearing. There might be some communication breakdown in the middle of what you're saying and what they're hearing. You know, like, I don't know why the doctors didn't know what the hell was wrong with me. I thought I was explaining it very clearly to a lot of people a lot of times, but no, I guess not. Or they just weren't familiar, none of them were familiar with this particular injury, which worries me, because I went out to the sports medicine guys out at the UBC, so they should know. But a little bit more to the story is, about a year ago, I was having a problem with my shoulder. I had a shoulder impingement, didn't know it was wrong. So I spent a lot of time just sort of trying to ignore it, waiting for it to go away on its own. And at a certain point, I realized it wasn't going to. So before I went to the doctor, I went and looked online, and I was able to, based on what I was feeling, I was able to narrow it down to one of two things. Okay, it's one of two things. It's either, I forget now, one of them had to do with my spine, and one of them had to do with something in my shoulder. I forget what exactly now. It's been so long, I've forgotten, because it feels great these days. But I also looked, I didn't really look for therapy at that time, because I didn't know exactly what it was. It was one of two things. So I went to the doctor, and I told her all my problems, like all my complaints, and she said, well, it hurts to do that. Don't do that. And I know that sounds like cliche, and people on injury websites will say stuff like this, the doctors say stuff like this, and it sounds not credible. But I'm here to tell you, doctors say stuff like this. That's not a solution. Don't tell me I can't do things that I know my body is functionally able to do just because it hurts. You know, so I said to her, I said, well, you know, I was trying very hard to be polite. I said, well, I kind of came here for a diagnosis so I can figure out how to fix it. I didn't say, don't tell me not to do this if it hurts. I really wanted to, though. I was a bit upset with that answer. So she said, oh, okay. I said, and so I said, I looked online, and I only told her this after getting this answer from her. I said, I looked online, and it seems to me like it's probably this or this. I'm not sure. And, what's your opinion? And she's like, oh yeah, okay. It sounds like it could be either that or that. Sure. So let's send you for some tests. So they're going to send me for a some kind of scan on my shoulder, as well as some X-rays on my spine, because one of the things that I had found was one of the things it could be is something wrong with my spine. So I was able to get into the X-ray pretty quickly. And the wait for the ultrasound, that's what it was, an ultrasound, was months and months. So the X-ray ruled out that it was my spine, thankfully. So now, even without the ultrasound, I kind of knew what the problem was. So then I went online and looked for therapy for this problem, found lots of great suggestions, and implemented them all. Lots of movement, lots of stretching, and it took me a month, and I was fixed on my own. So again, if you've got a problem, don't just take the doctor's word as gospel. Don't accept, if it hurts to do that, don't do it as an answer. Look into alternate therapies. Don't agree to go under the knife right away, because physical therapy will almost always work unless there's something really hugely tragically wrong with you. So, take good care of yourself. Don't slice yourself up unless it's absolutely 100% necessary. Try physical therapy options first. Look online. Do your own education. Again, the doctor can't feel what you feel. So even if they diagnose you, it could be wrong. They might be going on what they think they hear you saying, but it might not be exactly what the problem is. So try and find like an exact description online and go from there. And then take that to the doctor too. And if they try to tell you not to do this because it hurts, then tell them what you found. and tell them, you know, what you think should happen. And if they disagree with you, they're welcome to do so. But they might agree with you like mine did. So that's all. I mean, I'm pretty thrilled that I found the problem with my hamstring. And even though I know there's probably a long road in front of me to getting 100% back, because I'm going to probably run on it and exacerbate it when I do that. But I'm thrilled to know that I know what to do for it now. And when I do talk to health professionals about it, I know what to call it so that they know exactly what the problem is. So that's the moral of my story. Just don't take their words as gospel. Do your own research and go from there, and don't get operations if you don't have to. Okay, I'm repeating myself now, so I guess I'm done. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great day and a great week, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care.